in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. This meeting is an in-person meeting at 870 Colfax here in Benton Harbor. In addition, a live stream of this meeting is available at the following link. Questions may be submitted beforehand to liz.goodwin@bhas.org or presented in person during the public comment sections as indicated in the agenda. Board members may be contacted through the emails listed below. Requests for special assistance, including for persons with disabilities, may be sent to liz.goodwin@bhas.org. I call this meeting to order officially at 6:02 p.m. We'll begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Secretary Triplett, can you please call the roll?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, present. Treasurer Creighton,
Present.
Trustee Rocket Martin, Trustee Doyle,
Present.
Trustee Gavin.
Present.
Madam President, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you, Secretary Triplett. Quorum has been determined. Next, we have approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Doyle. Before we take vote, I'd like to notate that Trustee Rocket Martin did arrive at 6:04 p.m. after roll call. Secretary Triplett, can you please, are there any questions, comments, or concerns regarding approval of the agenda? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Here.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
Trustee Rocket Martin, that was an approval of the agenda. I want to make sure that was a yes for approval. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have review of board norms. The Board of Education norms for Benton Harbor area schools. We will treat each other with respect. We will listen to learn. We will refrain from side conversations. We will use our time wisely, starting and ending our meetings on time. We will challenge ideas, not people. We will ask questions when in doubt. There will be no surprises at the board table. We will practice the 7 norms of collaboration. Those are pausing, paraphrasing, posing questions, putting ideas on the table, providing data, paying attention to self and others, and presuming positive intentions. Next, we have public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to make a public comment on an agenda item? Hearing none, we'll proceed. Up next, we have approval of meeting minutes. Today, we are taking vote on work session 2/6/2024, regular session 2/13/2024, special session 2/22/2024, and work session 3/6/2024. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Gavin. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns regarding approval of the meeting minutes?
Madam President,
You have the floor.
I don't
Can't
know,
hear
did
you.
we receive the updated copy in our email? I know that there were some concerns on the March 6th meeting minutes, and I did not get a chance to review them. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. I know it was some language in there, and by this being a closed session, I think it's important that it's accurate.
So the 3/6 work session was the meeting that we just had last week. I think it may have been a previous session that you had a clarification on, but I know that Liz did send out an adjustment to the minutes via email.
Okay, I'm sorry. So this is the one from last week. Okay.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Abstain, I were absent for 2 of the meetings.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Abstain, I haven't read them.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, so the motion for approval of the minutes have passed for 2/6/24, 2/13/24, 2/22/24, and 3/6/24. Up next, we have board business. As a reminder, our protocol as of 9/13/2022, all comments will be limited to 2 minutes per trustee per topic. Our first item of business is a presentation from Threads of Hope. You have the floor.
You all really understand the impact that you're giving us and working with the students. We have a few of the students here. But it's been amazing. Social emotional learning, we know what's up, everybody's going through a lot now. And I think the awesome thing about it is that Benton Harbor area schools have chose to use an unconventional way to deal with social and emotional learning. We've been doing this for about 30 years and we are so excited that you all decided to bring us back here. We have some of our data that's, we did a pre-test and a post-test. Our reading scores are going up, math scores are going up since we've been in the district. There's also decrease in anxiety. So I'm just not telling you these fabulous stories. We have data to back it up and we are just overwhelmed. We missed the opportunity during February to tell you guys how much we love and appreciate you because of the storms, but we do have gifts here for you. Students, come on up, babies, come on. Y'all gonna pass these gifts out to this amazing board. We wouldn't come to your school. These students are from Fairplain East. Did y'all give them a hand? This one here goes to Miss Gavins, which is right down there. This one goes to, I need my glasses. Miss Doyle, right there. Okay. This one goes to, 1 second. Miss Raquette. Okay. This one goes to Miss Creighton. Miss Creighton is next to Miss Raquette. This one goes to Mr. Triplett. Right there. And this one goes to
Thank you.
Mr. Bowman. Okay.
We've been treated
This
good
one
this
goes
week.
to Miss Robinson, President. Okay. And then we always give gifts to the superintendent and his beautiful secretary. So, Dr. Butts, right there in front of you. Okay. And then we're going to give one to Miss Liz, who's all the way down there. You all need to know that in the bags, you got one of the t-shirts, you have one of our program CDs, which is called Cherish Your Life. We've been doing this a long time, y'all. Also, you have a little squeezy bowl. Everything is about the heart, you all. And we do know that at the end of the day, we can disagree. We can disagree. Guess what happens if we all bring back to the table? The only thing that's going to happen is that our kids will succeed. Our families will succeed, and hate and evil is out the door. And that's what we've been fortunate enough every morning to go into Fairplain East in the afternoon, MLK, and it has been absolutely amazing. Parents can see the difference. Teachers, I mean, we have all kinds of testimonials from the teachers. So we need you all to know that we're not just here for a check. We are here for a long-term relationship, not an overnight affair, but a marriage, because we were able to help turn statistics around at Morton. Okay, and Dr. Butts, we told you we can do it. We can do it. It's starting to slowly happen. Okay, so I want to give you all, staff, can you all give the board one of these? I want you all to, when you get in the midst of what you're dealing with, I want you all to look at those lyrics. Give the kids, you guys, pass those lyrics out to the Board of Education. Okay, pass the lyrics. Give them some to the students. Everybody repeat after me. We can make a change.
We can make a change
In someone's life
in someone's life
by giving them
by giving them
the opportunity
the opportunity
to dream.
to dream.
Let's give them hope
Let's give them hope
and show them that
and show them that
not I, but we can
we can
help make
make
dreams
dreams
a reality.
in reality.
So when you all get in the midst of things that are going on and you're gonna disagree, you're supposed to disagree. But the great thing about it is that that's when you know things are working. It's working when you disagree, you come back around and you can see the fruits of your labor. So we're going to very quickly get out of your way real fast. I'm going to sing it, y'all gonna sing it back to me, and we're gonna get out of here. We can make a change.
We can make a change.
In someone's life
In someone's life.
by giving them the opportunity
The opportunity
to dream.
to dream.
Let's give them hope.
Let's give them hope.
To show them that
To show them that
we can help them dream. We can help them dream. Reality.
reality.
Put your hands together. Come on, real quick. Now, real quick, students. Tell them a little bit about what you gotta thank the board real fast. Thank the board for.
Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank y'all. Speech.
We love y'all, appreciate y'all, and you will keep up the exceptional work, okay? God bless you.
Thank you. Up there.
So we want to thank Threads of Hope for coming in and doing the presentation. We are extremely grateful for the gifts, but we want you all to know that the work that you're doing in the district is gifts enough. So we appreciate you and we're so honored to have you. Thank you. All right, moving it right along. Next up, we have a presentation from Beyond Basics. You have the floor.
Good evening to the board. Thank you for having us, Beyond Basics, and our team. My name is Veronica Reynolds, and I am the Regional Director of Programs for Beyond Basics. Benton Harbor was actually one of our first regional programs. We started in the district about a year ago. And we are just so very glad to be here and very passionate about what we do. We have Katie Neinstedt here, who's a part of our team, and Delion McDaniel, who's our program manager, who's in the classroom every day. We also have Mr. Joy Bell, who is a supporter of our program. And I do see one of our students that we had in the room, Lazarus. So that's what we do. What we do is all about the students. We're very passionate about what we do. I don't know if you stepped up, you wanted to say something as we get started.
Oh, no, you got it.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, very good. So we have a PowerPoint. I'm going to go through it relatively quickly because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But if we can, yep, you all have a hard copy and also a thank you gift for your partnership with us.
Can we get more volume in our mic? Oh, okay.
All right, I can talk a little louder too. Is that better?
Yes.
All right. All right. And if we can move over just to the next slide, just to talk about our mission. So our mission is to bring greater literacy to our students, and one-to-one daily, we are working with students in the classroom, building relationships and spending about 50 minutes a session, 5 days a week with the students, which is unbeatable. A lot of times our students don't have that undivided one-on-one time with any adult, let alone a tutor who's going to pique their interest on a daily basis and bring them the greater literacy. So that's our mission. And every single person on our team, from our tutors to myself, to Mr. Bell, we're in it. We're in this mission. We're very passionate about it. If we can go over to number 2, the next slide. So the way we start is our team and the school administration. We select a roster of students, hand selected by the staff, and we administer what we call the Woodcock Mastery Reading Test, the 3rd edition. All of our teachers, all of our testers are certified teachers. And what we do is we make a prescription that is tailor-made specifically for each individual student. So we meet every student exactly where they're at, and we are tailor-making all of our programs. We can switch over to the next. So I mentioned the word prescription. Our prescriptions go anywhere from about 30 to 70 sessions. The prescriptions, once the prescriptions are completed, we do again administer that Woodcock Mastery program. And the expectation on the high school level is that in just a few weeks, about 12 weeks is an average cycle, we're bringing students about 2 grade levels above their reading level on average on the high school level. We were also in the elementary schools last year, so on the elementary level, we do expect about a grade level of movement in about 12 weeks, and that's amazing. We get it week in, week out, year in, year out. We get that grade level movement from our students. So if we can go one more further. So the curriculum again is tailor-made per student. Again, we're meeting every student exactly where they are. And we're pouring in a 1 hour, a 50-minute session. Our first curriculum is reading readiness. And this is mostly geared towards our lower level students. Most of the time our elementary students fall into this bucket because they may not have yet mastered the basic skills to begin reading. So it's as simplistic as letter recognition, phonological awareness. Our curriculum is very similar to an Orton Gillingham-based curriculum. It's theory-based, it's phonological, it is multisensory. So most of the time we're able to get the students really engaged in this program because they're learning on multiple levels and we're able to teach to the students' interests, which in the classroom, a large classroom, you can't really do that. You can't teach to the students' interests. Our core curriculum is Read to Rise. That's a 30-session curriculum. Again, we're doing multi-syllable words, pronunciation, vowel endings, decoding, vocabulary fluency. And then our scholars is just a practice of what we've already learned in our B curriculum. So these are our 3 main curriculums. But if we take it down a notch, one more to the next slide, you'll see that we've expanded the curriculum. Because again, we're meeting every single student right where they are, right? And again, that's very difficult to do in a large classroom. On a one-to-one basis, we can do that. We can meet the student. So we even developed out even further where we have a pre-readiness curriculum, which is before a student even knows letter recognition. We're doing things like rhyming, phonetic awareness, phonological awareness. And then on the back end, we've also created the B to C curriculum, which is it's in between our core curriculum and then that practice curriculum that I was talking about previously, where there's 10 additional sessions that come from that B curriculum that are added and you work from the B to the C. So again, we are meeting every single student exactly where they are. Again, we're a theory-based program, very similar to Orton Gillingham. So we prioritize reading concepts, and the mastery of the concept is where we know that the student is beginning to just build on their knowledge base. Each concept we're building, we're practicing, we're building again, and we're just really honing in on what the student needs on a day-to-day basis. If we can go to number 8. So this is what I love about the program the most, right? We come in fully prepared with our own staff. We have our program manager, Delian, who is creating the culture in the room every single day, making it the best place for the students to want to come, learn, and get that one-on-one. Each tutor is assigned their own group of students. So the student is seeing the same exact tutor every single day, building that relationship with the tutor every single day. One-to-one, 50 minutes, 5 days a week is where we get the best production from our students. We can go on to the next slide. Okay, so we kind of break it up too, because we know sometimes we need to break up the monotony with the students. We have some enrichment projects that we do. First, we get to know the students. Our very first mission with the student is to get to know them. So again, we can meet them exactly where they at. We talk about what do they like? What do you like to do on a daily basis? What are you interested in? Tell me about your day. Tell me your highs, tell me your lows. Like we go that deep with the student, just so we can know where we need to meet that student, how we can target them, how we can best serve them. So we do break it up with the art. We do some writing. Every student in our program publishes their own book or essay. So again, we're just throwing everything that we have at the student to bring them to greater literacy. So again, for optimal performance, we do need to see the student in the classroom 5 days a week, for 50 minutes a day. That's how we're going to get the most bang for our buck with every student. So again, Benton Harbor was one of our first regional programs. So these are some numbers from last year. We assessed 123 students last year. 52 students participated in the program. 35 students tested out of the program, and 80% of the students in our program made positive improvement. And if you see the small print, one of our students increased 5.7 grade levels in a 12-week cycle, 12 to 20-week cycle. I'm not exactly sure, but it was either between 12 and 20 weeks. And that's a lot of movement in a short period of time. We had 7 students who improved over 2 grade levels. And again, our expectation is about a grade level to 2 grade levels in a 12-week period of time. And again, we are achieving this district in, district out with multiple students across multiple districts. So of our 53 students that we tested in, that we worked with, the 35 students that we worked with, the average session length was 53 minutes. So we were almost at our goal of 60 minutes with each student. And the average attendance was 2.5 days a week. So imagine that a student is attending 2.5 days a week and a student has moved 5.7 grade levels. Amazing, right? So it's a beautiful thing. So these are some numbers just across the program. Across the program, we moved just under a grade level across every student that we saw. And on the high end, there was about 3 levels of movement, like that's tiny, I can't hardly see it, about 3 levels of movement in our 9th to 12th graders. So again, last year, we did service students at all 3 of the schools in the district. Yes. All right. So I won't go through all of these, but just out of those 35 that were tutored and tested out, student 1 was a 12th grader who came into our program reading at a 4th grade level, 5 months in, tested out of our program at a 10th grade level, 2 months in. We closed that gap significantly. We have a 9th grader, student 2, who tested in 5th grade, 6 months in, tested out 10th grader, 2 months in, tested out above grade level, again, in a 12 to 20 week time period. And again, this is because our tutors are, they're digging into these students. They're pouring into them 50 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Student 3, 11th grader, tested in 9th grade level, tested out 12th grader, 9 months. So again, these students are ready for college. They're moving up the chain. We're closing the gaps, right?
Can I add something to that real quick? So the reason, I'll go back to the first student, the 12th grader that was reading at a 4th grade level and tested out reading at a 10th grade level. That's crucial because once you graduate high school, it's hard to find programs like this. And reading at a 4th grade level, you can't get a job. So usually, if you're not reading that grade level by third grade, you have a 6-8% chance or more likely to go to prison. And so by him reading efficiently, which we consider reading at 7th grade level efficient, he can go out into society and join the workforce and become and become an asset to the community and to society. And so that's why that's so crucial. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. So again, I'm not going to go through all of these. I think you kind of get the gist of it and what our mission is and what we're accomplishing in the building day in and day out. We are currently, our classroom is right over here in the library. What I do also love about what we do is that we brand our classroom with positive affirmations. We're constantly talking positivity into the students. We celebrate our students at the end of the program. Everybody gets a certificate of completion. We also honor students for things like radiating character, authors of the month, artists of the month. And believe it or not, some of the artwork is phenomenal. We use our artwork. I think many of you have a tile in the thank you bag. It is artwork that is drawn by our students. So when our students do great things, we put it out there. So, that's kind of it in a nutshell. If you have any questions about our program, don't hesitate to ask. Again, this is our man that's in the classroom every day. He's kind of like our unsung hero. We sent one of our best too. Just so you know, when we came here to Benton Harbor, we sent our best. We sent our best. We wanted to make a good footprint in the area. We want to continue to make a good footprint in the area. And we appreciate Joik and his passion behind our program.
Yeah, so really quick, I'm blessed to know about and have a personal relationship with about 70% of the school board. And so I know how dedicated you guys are to the community, to our kids. And the same way we feel about our kids in our community is the same way they're passionate about what they do. And you guys know me, I've been in my community since from the time I made it to the NFL and coming back with my nonprofit every year to give back. And so you guys know who I am as a man, as a person. And so there's no way I would bring a program here that I didn't feel and I didn't do the research and I didn't vet before I brought them to my community. And by far one of the best programs I've seen in the country. We actually got back this morning from speaking on Capitol Hill about the literacy crisis in America. And we want Benton Harbor to stand on the forefront. Now, we say we're one of the first districts. We're actually the first district outside of the Detroit metro area that has this program. And since we brought it here, there's about another 5 or 6 districts that brought it to their districts based off the numbers they're seeing here. And so let's continue to set the standards for the rest of the country. And I feel and I know that we have the ability to do that here. And we have the team to do it. And I know that they're so passionate about what they're doing that we actually ran out of funding for the program last semester, and they funded it themselves to stay here to invest in our kids. So with that being said, did you want to ask something?
I always like to say too, like if you think about doing something 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, I wish I could get myself to the gym or to that French class or whatever I've been promising myself. It's amazing the traction and the progress that can happen in a short period of time with that sort of intensity. That's the secret sauce for Beyond Basics. It's the intensity. And I think that it is such a huge benefit for the students to have that consistency in their life. So it just organically happens. And after 20 years in Detroit Public Schools and lots of outcome reports, I can sincerely tell you that our program works. It really works. So this program is funded in a lot of different ways, a lot of different districts, and that's kind of my wheelhouse. We use title in some districts. In some districts during the CARES Act era, we've used EANS, we've used ESSER, and really we started philanthropically. So we have funding for some of our schools, like Cody in Detroit is 100% funded by General Motors. So we have corporate support, we have philanthropic support, we have grants, we have government title, whatever you want to call it. So we want to find a way to stay in Benton Harbor. And last year, the Benton Harbor Education Foundation did give us a grant. And this year, due to whatever, we didn't get that grant from them. I think they were missing some outcomes. So we do have some very positive outcome that is showing on your state scores. So Dr. Butts isolated the students who went through our program last year, and now he can show all, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but now you can show your board the growth that those particular students made. So yeah, so it's good. It's really good. And we love being here. And Delion moved from Detroit to be here and rented a place and has made a commitment to the community. So we're all very pleased to be here. We thank you very much for your time. You have a great community.
I know it.
Thank you all for choosing Benton Harbor Area Schools. Joik, you know that we, Mr. Bell, we're extremely proud of you, not only for your accomplishments and success, but for you not forgetting about Benton Harbor and continue to pour into our community. I did notice that you all also brought us a gift. And so as stated with the previous group, the gift is you choosing to be here and providing your services to us at this particular time. And it's a pleasure to meet you all, especially the gentleman that has moved his life on behalf of our students. We appreciate it more than you are aware. I do want to give the board an opportunity if they'd like to say anything or ask any questions. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
First, I want to say to Joey, I appreciate you wanting to come back and to do this type of work here in our district. I did get a call earlier this year from one of my classmates from Grand Valley State University and asking did we know anything about this program? And I let her know that it was happening here. When I look at the curriculum and what it brings to the table, my mind just went back into teaching mode and what have you. We want to, how do we measure short-term growth, long-term growth? How do we track? It is, you know, with you guys having the pre-test and the post-test to show, you know, my mind went to, I don't know what our administration is doing as it relates to when we identify the student, a cohort of freshmen. If the whole school would, you know, what would it look like if the whole school was allowed to take the pre-test? And in particular, Ben Harbor High School has gotten so small as it relates to numbers. Right. Or are we saying, okay, so we'll do 8, 9. And then if the eighth graders start, when they get to ninth grade, the ninth graders become the sophomore, the so on. So you just find a cohort, and within 2 or 3 years, you will see that class of students growing by the time they get to their junior year, when we take the state examination. Right. So I'm excited about what you presented, how it looked. It's good to have, when I see phonemes and at the beginning, phonics was taken out of our schools. Yeah. Reading is comprehension, comprehension is understanding. Correct. But you have to be able to decode, and there are some basic things. We've had students who are valedictorians, unfortunately, who score very low on national examinations or what have you. So I would just like to see us dive into how this really would look from an academic perspective and how we can measure so that in the end, our students will make the necessary growth. Right. And you know, what things are we doing in our individual schools to support you all? So right. Thank you again for this information. It was refreshing.
To your point, you know, there's always been this like ongoing war of reading methods, right? You've heard about this in your trade publications and stuff. It's the science of reading versus full language. A lot of your students were taught to read with full language. So that whole, you know, this is a generational thing, but it's interesting to note that 36 states, the United States right now, are saying back to science of reading. Go back. And all of the state education dictate get rid of the full language.
It's just a
Yeah,
it is.
But you know, there are some advantages to full language too. And back to your curriculum inquiry, the curriculum we use is called Learn Up by Steve Tatum. And this is a man out west who designed this curriculum. It is a very unique curriculum. It is not our curriculum. We administer the curriculum in full dosage. But Steve Tatum's idea was Gordon Gillingham speed it up, Linda Movell, people with all of the top literacy curriculum, blended them together and moved at a very fast pace. They go over concept. Sometimes you don't even get the concept, but they keep going and then they come back to it. It's like
it loops. It loops. It loops.
It's the mastery of it. So it's been hugely successful. I mean, people travel to him to get his curriculum. He comes to Southfield, trains our tutors. He and his son are now, on our training camp, and our tutors are certified in this methodology.
Right.
So it's a very scientific, strategic approach.
And so
But your kids are
let me,
beautiful.
okay, let me tap into that. So, no, you're fine. No, we needed that, right? And so I want us to know that how far ahead we are of other school districts because of these type of programs, right? If you look across the states, over 50% of our kids, over 50%, and this every state included, are not reading that grade level. There's not one state in the entire country with 50% of their kids reading that grade level. Michigan is about 69% of our kids reading below grade level. And we're trying to combat that here because that our kids' literacy levels is the foundation of Benton Harbor, our economy, everything, from our school being rated to our properties going up in value to property taxes going up as well to fund our schools because we're funded by not only the state, but also by property taxes. So all this is correlated. So once our kids get acclimated and they can start to read, and we've had kids who had 1.5s go through our program, and within 1 year, their GPA is a 3.2, with principals from other districts coming out and saying that some of the most disruptive kids went through this program, and now these same students are the leaders in the school, right? And so this program really helps. It flips the switch in these kids that I've seen personally. And when I saw that personally, that's when I said, I need you guys at Benton Harbor. And I did everything I could to try to get them here. And it took some time, but we're here. And with you guys' help, we're here to stay. So thank you.
All right, thank you all so much.
I just wanted to say thank you as well, for Joy to come back home and to be thinking about us in that way. I strongly believe that once you learn how to read, that's a sense of freedom that nobody can take away from you. And you all have all the pieces, the phonics, Orton Gillingham, that reminds me of those little blue books they used to have, they work. And so combining that in with the arts, giving them an opportunity to write their own books, put their name on it, publish that, that's that freedom, that's that self-expression, that's them seeing, themselves in the learning. And so I'm just really grateful that you all are, brought something here that our students can learn and use. And I love the fact that you brought that data, and we can really, and it's realistic data. It wasn't like we fixed everybody, it was real data. We saw where we could go from, what point we could go from. You're meeting them where they are. And you did that assessment in the beginning and at the end. And so it's just really inspiring to see you all here. And I hope that we can, figure out a way to keep you. Thank you all.
Yes.
Okay, so just a reminder, I know we're in a presentation, but I'm the only person that has the authority to pass the floor. Trustee Raquel Martin.
Yes, I'd like to know if there's any
Can't hear you.
if there's any data that you've been able to collect to see how your students fare on the M-STEP. Do you have any kind of connection from your program to the state testing?
So for example, starting at first, we're in 9 other regional districts, and our East Jordan district, we have multiple districts that are reporting that they were isolated and beyond basics
Who are in Beyond Basics are performing heads and shoulders above. And I don't know, we had about 30% growth, or the expectation has far exceeded on what the district was expecting on the state testing. Also, we do see that year over year, there are some schools that we've been in. We're not only in public schools, we're in non-public schools as well. In some of our non-public schools that we've been in for 2 or 3 years, we see the year over year, the students are retaining the information and just building, and each year testing higher, scoring higher. So we do see that. What we do also see is that students, the first thing is the confidence that the student exhibits in the classrooms. We have teachers who say, you know what, the student is raising their hand, they're not afraid to read, they're participating more. Students are reporting that when they're taking the standardized test, that they were able to read it and understanding better. So we're getting multiple ways that we're receiving our feedback, knowing that the student is retaining the information and it is working.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. So we're gonna move right along. Thank you again for your presentation and your effort. All right, trustee Doyle.
Real quick, I just want to thank you guys. It was an amazing presentation. I would like to thank you guys. It was an amazing presentation. And as we all know, literacy is a big issue all over, not just in Black and brown schools, but all over. And I see that the improvements that you made with the students, and I'm really excited that you guys are here and we can do this for our kids because they are more than capable. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you all. All right, so we're gonna move right along. It's now 6:42. We have an agenda to dig through. So I am going to pass the mic to Dr. Butts, and he is going to begin with his partnership agreement and strategic plan updates.
Thank you, Madam President. With the partnership update, we will have the Office of Partnership Districts in the district on Thursday. They will be doing some rounds and collecting, just doing some observations throughout the district. I think Madam President will be joining us on those rounds. And as long as we don't have a quorum, I invite other board members to come and join in on the visit as well. As far as the strategic plan update, we are continuing to implement and monitor our academic initiatives with established markers for improvement with our state testing. We're continuing to expand on blended learning opportunities, technology and utilization in all K through 12 classrooms. One thing in particular I'd like to highlight in this area is through our robotics program, which we've grown a lot this year. And I'll expand on that on the superintendent comments at the end. Progress monitoring and common formative assessments. We're still monitoring those even on our day-to-days. This Friday, we will also be providing professional development with inclusionary practices. Also, we're still in the process of trying to perform safety training and practice those at each school. We're continuing to implement and monitor the Grow Your Own Teacher Development programs designed to recruit personnel in the education. No, this is mine. I'll just give an update. Okay. Next time I can provide it to you. Okay. We're also sorry about that. Continue to implement and I just said that one, I'm sorry. We'll also continue to expand professional learning opportunities to support principals aligned to the state leadership framework. We are still waiting on some information from the Urban Learning Center. We're trying to mitigate existing community barriers that prevent family engagement. So we're still reaching out to families for engagement. We're continuing to support and expand partnership with strategic community partners. We're also, we've completed the request for proposals for the boilers, and with some of the finance commitments that we have, I'll let the finance committee and Molly update us on those ending contracts. And lastly, we've already developed a facilities master's plan, and we are actively moving forward with those initiatives with the facilities master's plan. I'd like to introduce our new student representatives tonight. I will say that they were although those rules, the policy change will not take effect till next year, these student advisors were voted upon and chosen by their teachers and their peers. So they were not selected by the superintendent as I vehemently opposed to. So although they will go into effect next year, I did let the students and their teachers their peers and their teachers choose them for their leadership abilities, for their initiatives that they've taken in the school. So I'd like to proudly present Mr. Lazarus Ross as one of our student representatives. And Miss Armani Collins as our second student representative. And I'll yield the floor at this time so they can introduce themselves. Mr. McDermott.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Armani Collins. I'm a student representative of the Board of Education. I am a senior at Benton Harbor High School, and I am also Miss Benton Harbor 2024. I will be attending Alabama A&M University this fall, majoring in secondary education, also minoring in psychology. I just want to thank you all for letting me come before you and be a voice for my fellow classmates. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lazarus Ross. I am a senior at Benton Harbor High School. I will be attending Davenport University, majoring in computer science and business. I am also the Winterfest King of Benton Harbor High School for their pageants. And I just want to thank you all for coming out and supporting all of us, during these hard times. Thank you.
So we welcome you all to the Board of Education as our student representatives. I know with you all graduating, you do not have many months with us, but we're going to ensure that you all get the maximum opportunity that you can to participate in our board meetings. So there's often where I will ask for questions, comments, or concerns. That's your opportunity to speak if you have a question, a comment, or concern. You all will also be placed on a committee, at least one committee, which I will designate. And so you'll have the opportunity to attend those committee meetings as well. We do not want you to minimize your role as student representatives. Your voice probably matters more than anyone at this table because you're in the buildings and experiencing the schools daily. And so we do want you all to feel confident in allowing us to know your thoughts as we make decisions. Okay? Welcome to the Board of Education. Strap in and hold on tight. All right, so we are going to move it right along to business and finance. I am now giving the mic to Chief Vincent. She's going to provide our monthly financial reports. Reminder to the board, this was the area that we were able to discuss in detail last week. So my expectation would be that we would not have as many questions or comments this time, but we're going to ensure that we are able to get through the vote as necessary. So Chief Vincent, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. I will second, we did talk in length last at the work session about finance. I did have one follow-up for the board table. I did reach out to Munitrex around providing a training on the different financial capabilities. I was supposed to have a meeting yesterday with our rep. I felt ill, so I was not able to have that meeting, but I'm looking forward to providing you an update next week. It is something that they are able to do. So I'm going to go through a training myself internally to make sure I'm doing what I need to do to have the information available so that he can then look at that information to provide a community and a board-led training session for you. If there wasn't any other questions about the financial reports, I would like to just go straight to staff report F1. That was all right. The subject of staff report F1 is the monthly financial reports. The reason for board consideration is a set of financials review provided to the Board of Education each month. This evening it's recommended that for the month of January 1st to the 31st, the payments be approved for the district's funds. The policy reference is 6470, payment of claims. The strategic goal reference is facilities and operations. Ben Harbor Area Schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan to ensure physical and psychological safety. The recommended action is that the Board of Education approve the January first through January 31st, 2024 payments for the following funds. The general funds is for $359,780.52. And the student activity funds at $1,314.65 for a total of $361,095.17.
Thank you, Chief Vincent. Is there a motion to approve staff report F1?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by trustee Gavin and supported by trustee Doyle. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Vice President Bowens.
Yes, I have a few questions and testing my check. Okay. Page,
Can't hear.
yeah, I can barely hear myself. Yeah.
It's real low.
Steve.
Mics
I can't hear.
The mics are.
Can you hear me now?
I think I got a blue in there.
Cause there's some balloon back here too.
Okay, so I'll talk loud like I'm supposed to. Okay, my question is, no, I'm sorry. Advanced education, I see on page 1, we did a expense of $3,558.12. Then I see that we did it on $9,150. Then I see another one, I'm sorry, disregard that first 3,000. I see one for 6,000. What is that professional services for?
I'm gonna defer to the superintendent.
Thank you, Vice President Bowens. I'll do a follow-up with you.
Okay, and then my next page, on page 4, capital consultants. I see one for $14,831.52. And I see that was from ESSER 3. I see capital consultants again for $39,377.71. And then I see it again for $19,257. I would like a follow-up, please, on what those projects are.
Sure, I could take C2AE. Capital Consultants is C2AE. It's their DBA. So when we approved the boiler project, we approved those purchases for C2AE.
Okay, so you said that's their DBA?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, what was the other one?
Advanced education or something?
And what is that?
They said they're gonna get back with us on that.
What is it? What is it for?
Says.
This
Right here.
is something that we need to approve tonight, right, President Robinson? So what is it for?
That was just in the monthly financials. Advanced Education Solutions.
So the CFO,
Who's the vendor?
Okay, so, Dr. Buss, I think what they're attempting to clarify is if you know what the particular service is for. But I also want to notate, I believe the expectation would be that either one of the chiefs or yourself will be able to answer the question. But then also just a reminder to the board, I believe we've had our agenda and our financials for about 2 weeks now. And so we could have asked the question in advance, but I do understand that it may have been something that was gleaned while sitting here. Chief Waddell, are you able to provide clarification on the question? As far as what that particular service is for, being that it's an education service?
everybody shot.
So what I will suggest, what we're gonna do so that we can proceed with our agenda, but ensure that we're able to get the financials approved. We are gonna proceed and move forward on the agenda. Passing staff report F1 will give individuals to maybe skim emails or check into records to see if a clarification can be provided so that board members feel comfortable taking that vote. And then we'll circle back once we have that answer. And that way we're not waiting for individuals to answer the question. So we are going to pass the mic over to Chief Waddell. And she is going to begin with, we're going to begin with an update for curriculum and SPED. Were you all able to meet to provide an update? Yes,
Madam President.
Yes.
I do also want, I was waiting on an opportunity also for finance. I know that it was mentioned that we did get an update, yesterday about a critical contract and just wondered if this was the place to actually explain that, since it has been something that's been asked, or if you would like for us to add that to a future agenda.
So if the clarification is not something that we have to take action on tonight, then maybe, is it something required for tonight or just a clarification for the board?
Well, it was a contract that we were told was on pause. We can't add that to the agenda, in the future. I just wondered because it was pre-messaged and there was no, conversation.
Chief Vincent, are you aware of what she's referencing?
If it was an email that came in yesterday, frankly, I am not. I was out of the office yesterday. Was I on the email?
Okay, so we're gonna, what I'll do is I'll move on from business and finance,
President Robinson,
trustee Gavin.
so are we holding off questions until we come back, or?
That would be most efficient. We're gonna circle back to the business and finance section because the questions that we're asking, they're not prepared for the answers because we didn't ask in advance. So I'm giving them an opportunity to research those questions, but if you have another that you think might be able to be answered, you can proceed with your question.
Thank you. Yep, my question is a little different. Thank you. I want to thank you, Chief, for doing that research and finding out about us getting a training with Munetrics. And my question is, I heard you say that you wanted to get a deeper training with them as well. And I was wondering if you were saying that you're going to train with us, or you're scheduling a training with them prior to and then scheduling, getting dates for our training after yours.
I was planning on meeting first with them to make sure that we are utilizing it the best way, and then
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I was planning on doing a first meeting with them and then doing a separate meeting after training with the Board of Education and the community after.
Okay, thank you.
Secretary Triplett.
Madam President, I do, and I appreciate us being able to go back, for us to go back to visit the finance piece, because I know last week at our work session, we weren't able to complete the work that was necessary. However, I just think that is very, very important, and I appreciate the board going through looking at different things, because our responsibility is governance, oversight, and accountability. But I think that anything that is presented to this Board of Education, it should not be that type of scuffling. If you put it in the report, if it goes in the report, everybody from central administration that's a part of the preparation of this report, you should know what each one of these items in this report is. So that's just my thought. I want that on record, and that will be the expectation moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. I appreciate you making your expectations clear. My expectation would be that we're able to readily receive responses as well. But I also want to remind the board that if we do our homework in advance, we do have the window of opportunity from last work session and even the time before when we reviewed that agenda to send those questions so that they can ensure that we have the answers either before we come to the table or while we're here. So I do agree, we have the expectation, we should be able to receive a readily response, but I want to remind the board that we can also ask in advance so they can ensure that they're prepared as well.
And I appreciate that, Madam President.
Thank you.
I would not put something in the report I don't know anything about.
Understood. Thank you. All right, so we're going to proceed. Chief Waddell, you finally have the mic. I don't feel like I've been able to hear from you as much in our recent meetings. So we're going to pass the floor to you with our curriculum and SPED committee update. I didn't get an answer as to whether the committee has been able to meet. Trustee Gavin?
President Robinson, I wanted to talk about that because we haven't met in a while. And I'm wondering, is it possible for committee members to, identify a day and time that we can meet, or if they're no longer interested in being on the committee, like, can we Can we get some?
You want to get it nailed down? Yeah, so right now, and you guys have to remind me if I'm mistaken, I believe curriculum is trustee Secretary Triplett, trustee Gavin, and now trustee Rocket Martin. And so I believe we were standard meeting about 4:30 before. Sometimes there was a change. So do you all have a moment to identify a date and time, Secretary Triplett?
Well, I think, and I just want clarification on that as to why we have not been meeting, how we did not meet towards the end without putting anything out to the public, is that it has been very difficult to identify from a central administration perspective how this team is going to move forward and work. So, I mean, you know, there were periods and times when there was questions as to whether or not they could meet, what time would be off limits, what contract said, and what have you. So that's why they were given an opportunity to but what we can do, trustee Gavin, myself, and trustee Rocket, we can meet first and foremost with ourselves, so we can find out as the committee, identify who's going to chair the committee and go forth, and then we will get with Dr. Butt and Chief Waddell, and we'll set the date for the time for the meeting.
So do you all have availability this week at all in the evening to perhaps meet? That way you all know you have a designated day and time that you're going to connect.
I do. I never had a problem with the availability. The problem with their availability.
So I'm asking, what I'm asking, I'm sorry, I think you misunderstood the question. Do you have availability this week, meaning either Wednesday, Thursday, to meet in the evening, the three of you all? Do you have that availability this week?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, which day works for you all? Are you gonna do tomorrow or Wednesday? I mean, Wednesday or Thursday?
Not that birthdays matter, but tomorrow's my birthday, so I would do it.
Wednesday. Okay, how about Thursday, 6 o'clock via Zoom? Does that work for the committee? Yes, trustee Rocket Martin, Thursday, 6 o'clock?
Can we do 6:15?
Thursday,
Yes.
it's just gonna be the three of you all. You're looking towards the admin table. 6:15, Thursday, 6:15, you all are gonna meet. Okay, awesome.
Thank you. 6:15.
They're gonna just meet.
Point of order, so they're not meeting with the superintendent or the chief? Is that
They're
what
just
you-
gonna meet and talk about who their chair is and just do a quick, and then they'll get with the chief and the superintendent to get the schedule ironed out, is what I believe I heard. All right, so Chief Waddell, if there's no other questions, Chief Waddell, you have the floor.
I do have a question in regards to that. So to clarify for myself, because there was a change that was made early January when we changed it to the fourth Thursday at 5 p.m. and I thought that that was confirmed. So are we changing again because we have a new committee? Just for my clarity.
I don't think there's an answer to that just yet.
Okay, all right.
So if
thank
that's
you.
what your standard is, I think they can take note of that and then determine amongst the three of them whether or not that, if everyone can fit that in their schedule. I think they're trying to prevent continuous belaboring of a meeting time. So if they are able to get together collectively for a quick, even if it's just 15-20 minutes, designate times that work for them, and then they can give that information to you all so you can coordinate a time that works collectively for everyone.
And I do apologize before the record to clarify. Again, Secretary Triplett requested already for the meeting to change. And in January of 2024, it was my understanding that that was finalized. It wasn't necessarily my request. It was a request coming from his office. And so to clarify again, just for the record, it was updated. We used to meet at 4 on the second or fourth Tuesdays. We changed it to the fourth Thursday in January of 2024 at Secretary Triplett's request. And so I'm just clarifying now, are we changing again because we have a new set of committee members? So if you don't know that answer, I understand, but I just wanted it on record that we did already finalize our new meeting times. We still have not met.
So I think the clarification that you seek is there's a set meeting time that you may have from an administration standpoint, but if you, for example, have 2 out of 3 board members that don't have that availability, for example, because they have to travel from another city, that might create a slight variation, not saying that it will or won't. So at this particular time, I do not have an answer to your question.
Okay, I will proceed. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to ask questions.
You're welcome.
For our first item on the agenda, and good evening to all of the trustees. The first item this Thursday, as Dr. Butts was speaking to earlier this evening, we actually, to be very specific, we have a site visit in regards to our MyCLSD grant. We have 3 state representatives, Renee Garcia, who is actually the person that is our oversight of our MyCLSD grant, Kim Davis, who is a part of the partnership agreement, and Katie Dennis is one of their colleagues. The 3 of them will be visiting this Thursday at 3 of our sites, MLK, FPE, and Benton Harbor High School, and we will be briefed at central office in the afternoon. Right now, we have a schedule where myself and Mrs. Hoover and Dr. Butts, when available, will be walking around our representatives. And our focal points that we will be highlighting with our reps are literacy across content areas. If you notice in the schedule, we have them looking at literacy taking place in STEM classes, as well in our world history classes. They will also be taking a look at our reading mastery intervention groups that are taking place at our MLK building. We have an opportunity to be one of the first school districts in the state to have diverse classroom libraries in all of our 6th through 5th grade buildings. So we will be taking a look at all of those items and where they're stored right now, because we do have a plan over spring break to begin the work to get those rolled out. And then they will also be taking a look at evidence of literacy initiatives and training that are happening across the district. Are there any questions in regards to the site visit?
Hearing none, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. Moving on to the diverse classroom libraries. As I stated already, we do have this opportunity to be one of the first districts in the state of Michigan to have diverse classroom libraries in all of our K-5 buildings. And so this is going to take a lot of work. We do not have, we're scarce when it comes to central office as far as needing support to roll out when we receive items on such a mass level. So the state of Michigan has given us the opportunity to allow them to be a part of this, and they are going to sign up volunteers from across the state. We're going to try to get as many volunteers as possible to come out that first week in April to help us start with the shelving units, to put these shelving units together for our classrooms. We have bean bags that have been delivered. We still have to get our books. We have our bins, but this is going to be a huge, huge rollout, and we are starting during spring break. Any questions in regards to the diverse classroom libraries?
Are they Secretary Triplett?
So when we talk about all of the work, have we partnership with facilities, maintenance? There are almost 20, it seems like we've approved about 20 different positions in every school, reading assistants, reading underliners, specialists, and all of those different things. I think there are enough people that are working in these buildings that can also participate. So I don't know if you all have tapped into your resources, but we do have a facilities committee. We have maintenance. We have all of these people that are on our payroll. So how are we using our own resources that we have here? And if there's communication between these chiefs to get this job done, are we using that? Are you guys working together? Mr. Chief Corson, Chief
I can
White.
respond to answer your question. Yes. Yes, we are. We have been planning this for quite some time now. And we talk often about what are we going to do?
Yeah.
That's one of our questions that we ask ourselves all the time, because this is going to be a huge lift for the limited staff that we have at central office when it comes to receiving big projects and trying to get them out. And so we are trying to be strategic. We are looking at ways we can look outside of the school day to pay folks, but we are still in talk. We still are in talk mode, but we are thankful for the MDE support that is coming. We are looking for any local support. If you know any folks, feel free to give them the sheet. They can sign right up and click that link, just like almost the BHAS that we had back in October, where we had a lot of volunteers come out and help our district. So to answer your question, yes.
Thank you. I would like to say, was it Trustee Gavin or Doyle? You can go ahead, Trustee Doyle.
I was wondering, I was wondering if we had looked into getting some of the students, like, I know they have like volunteer hours, the seniors or something like that. Or maybe we can just make it a fun day and have some kids come out and help us as well.
We will write that down. Thank you for your suggestion. Yes,
All right,
No, you have to wait for her.
we need the mic.
Microphone.
So it's very important that you all use the mic because we take minutes, which are a running list of what we've discussed. And so you want to make sure that the public hears you that's watching on Zoom, but also that we have it recorded appropriately so she can notate what you've said.
Okay. Also, I would like to suggest the construction classes. That would be something good for them to do because Mr. Emmerich, which is the teacher, he does try to get us to come out and do projects. So I think that would be something good.
Thank you so much for your John with your first comment. It was a really good idea. I would like to say I actually like the idea of pursuing volunteers to assist with this project. When we had our meeting with Dr. Rice a few weeks back, he stressed how amazing of a program this is, how we should be maximizing on public exposure and talking about this. And so if getting volunteers to come in and assist us with this is a way to make sure that the public knows more about it. The bigger that we can make this, the more of a community effort that we can make it. I think it would be excellent for exposure, but also it might be the small step to get individuals giving their efforts back to the district. So I'm excited about diverse classrooms in general and really looking forward to the rollout. And I think Chief Corson wanted to add something.
Good evening. I just wanted to also add that from a central administration standpoint, this is a balancing act that we have been working amongst the different departments for. When it comes to the actual purchasing and the timing of those deliveries, as well as the placement of those, and making sure that we have adequate space to receive them and to keep them safe in the meantime. So hopefully this comes across as a collaborative effort because we are working hard to try to make sure that we line this up for success.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments from the board or anything additional Chief Waddell wanted to add to that particular topic before we proceed?
No, thank you all for your suggestions. We've taken note of those. Thank you.
All right,
Robinson.
Trustee Gavin.
Just wanted to say that from what I've noticed, just watching Chief Waddell from a distance, she figures out a way to bring everybody in a creative way to make sure that we're maximizing our resources. I don't doubt that that's happening here. I'm in agreement with President Robinson in that it is beneficial for us to have as many volunteers as possible. That's a good promotion for our school. That's good PR. And it also gives our students an opportunity to see that other folks care about us. And it kind of lightens the load on the faculty, the staff that's already has a workload as well. I absolutely love Armani's idea about utilizing the construction class because that gives them not only just the opportunity to do the work, but to also build their portfolio and contribute to the legacy. So really grateful and excited about this diverse library and our students' opportunity to see themselves in their reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Chief Waddell, you have the floor to proceed with the robotics overnight field trip.
Thank you so much. And just so you know, the detailed field trip required form is also attached to the board agenda, but if it's okay, I'm going to go straight to the staff report because I believe the information is the same. And if not, I'll bounce back during questioning. So for staff report T1, subject is an overnight robotics competition to Kentwood High School in Grand Rapids, Michigan on today's date is March 12, 2024. Reason for board approval, the board shall approve field trips and other district-sponsored trips which are planned to keep students out of the district overnight or longer or out of the state. Facts and analysis. The Benton Harbor High School Robotics Program is requesting permission to take 4 high school students to Kentwood High School, south of Grand Rapids, March 28th through March 30th, 2024. Students have built their robot, which requires math and computer science skills. The competition will further their problem-solving, cooperative learning, communication, and professionalism, as well as offer any opportunity to earn awards, accolades, and scholarships. This is an extracurricular activity. Students have met daily during the build season to prepare the robot, including building, programming, and troubleshooting. In addition, the team and coach has collaborated with the St. Joseph High School coach and team to gain understanding of best practices in the FIRST robotics arena. The source of funds for this field trip will come out of the robotics fund, which is funded by grants and corporate sponsorships. The total cost of the field trip will be a total of $2,761. Breakdown of costs provided on field trip approval form. Policy reference is 2340 field and other district sponsored trips. Strategic reference, strategic plan reference, learning environment. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, maintain, and implement with fidelity a multi-tiered system of support that enhances the culture and learning environment. And the recommended action is that the Benton Harbor area schools Board of Education votes to approve the field trip to the Kentwood High School south of Grand Rapids. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for clarification for the board, the cost is notated on page 5 in section E. I would also like to remind the board in the table that one of our board norms is that we will pay attention to self and others as far as our norms of collaboration, and that there will be no side conversations. I'm hearing quite a few. So we're going to proceed right along. Is there a motion to approve staff report T1?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett. I'll take Trustee Rocket Martin as the second. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report T1? You have the floor, Vice President Bowens. I believe I see your hand. Secretary Triplett, Trustee Rocket Martin as well, or no? Okay, so Bowens and then Triplett.
Well, I just gotta commend Ms. Mason for her commitment and dedication to the STEM and science and everything. Your work doesn't go unnoticed. We're rooting for you. And I'll discuss some more with you later, but we're rooting for you. We appreciate you. We value you. And thank you for your leadership and your husband's leadership too.
Secretary Triplett.
Yeah, I too wanted to say that, I just wanted to acknowledge Mr. Mason because he worked extremely hard. As a matter of fact, Mr. Mason worked extremely hard. And I think that they did such an amazing job with our kids just to have that opportunity. I do want to make sure that when they go up there, that they have everything that they need, that they are not shorted as it relates to food, restaurants, the experience. Because, it's very important. I don't want them to go up there. If enough money is in here, they should be able to go out to dinner at a nice restaurant. And, because we always go so small when it comes to our kids. And when we go, we got lobster and umfufu and tofu and wufu and everything else. So I just hope that the money that's in there, I just see $400 for food. That seems like a very limited amount of money for those kids. We do receive a lot of money, funding, and grants off the back of our students who are whatever they categorize them as. So I mean, if I just hope that all of that was taken into consideration. That their meals are strong, powerful, they're healthy, that they have nice rooms, so that this experience will be top of the line for our kids, and that we don't have to save paper or anything like that at this particular time with millions of dollars worth of grant money off their backs. Thank you.
If there's no other questions or comments, Trustee Gavin.
I also want to congratulate the robotics team. I've been seeing things on Facebook of all of the winning and all the great things that you all are doing. So really glad to see that they get out, more field trips. I'm for all of that. And I was also wondering, there was a parent that was asking, is robotics available at the middle school level? And they were also asking about coding. I don't know if those are combined or if that is an option for our middle schoolers.
Thank you for asking your question. Currently, we are exploring new opportunities for career and college exploration, keeping in mind robotics at our mini secondary level. So we are in talks right now about what 24-25 looks like. We do have some new programs that will be coming across your table, hopefully in the next month, with our course selection guide at the high school level. But again, the future goal is how can we branch down for that college and career readiness. And so the CT director and I, we are collaborating together, and then of course collaborating with Dr. Butts on what that looks like. And there are things in the works right now. We hope to share those soon.
It's great.
Thank you. All right, if there's no other questions, I believe was it Secretary Triplett and Trustee Rocket Martin on the vote?
Yes.
Okay, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes, Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, awesome. So we are done with teaching and learning. We're gonna proceed to student support services, and then after that, we'll go back to business and finance. Chief Corson, you have the floor. Is there a facilities committee? I don't believe, we don't have an update. Chief Corson?
Good evening, Board of Education. Just for this evening and for me to know which way you would like me to proceed, would you like me to read the staff report and then discussion at the table? Or would you like me to have discussion and presentation about the topics and then read the staff report?
Read the staff report.
Understood. Staff report number SSS1. Approval of Benyon purchase. Submitting for board consideration, the Board of Education shall approve all purchases over the most recent State of Michigan Department of Education threshold of $29,572. Facts and analysis, the track resurfacing and site design work will refinish the surface and to be able to hold track meets and enable the use for physical education. The current track is past its lifetime, and by making this choice, the life of the track could increase to 40 years. It is recommended that the board award this work to Benyon to install the track and complete the track site design for Benton Harbor area schools. Policy reference 6320 purchasing, 6325 procurement federal grant funds. Strategic plan reference facilities and operations. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education votes to approve the payment to Benyon in the amount of $1,868,104 to cover the cost of the track roof.
All right, before I ask for a motion to approve, are there any highlights that you would like to give us out of the document that you provided, the pricing proposal?
So highlights of this is that in the fall and in the budgeting process, it was asked by the Board of Education as well as from members within our community to look into a track project. So the administrative team has done so at the behest more recently of the facilities team. And so what we bring to you tonight is the conclusion of that work for your consideration. We met with a number of vendors along this process and selected Benyon as the best solution for our needs. The site analysis was done in person. They flew in from their regional headquarters 2 times to meet with us. We have met with the CFO, the superintendent, the head of athletics, as well as myself. A number of times to be able to go through the proposals and to go over the options that would be available to us. Due to the nature of the track and the condition that it is in, a resurfacing is not a good option for the district. And so what you have before you is a complete rework of that track, the substructure as well as the top structure, which with what is being proposed right now would give a minimum lifespan of 40 years with the correct maintenance attached to it. Additionally, there have been questions about turf and turf field options. So what you will see is you will see that attached as the second part of this conversation if there are questions at the table in reference to that. But currently, the administrative team within the district believes that the most pressing need to our students and to this district and the best fiscal decision from our opinion would be to approve the track as presented.
Okay, and I just have one quick question, before I open the floor to the board. On page, I guess it would be the second page, under price includes,
Yep.
Q3, Q4, 2024 completion, that means it'll be done before the end of the year? Is that what that is indicating?
So right now, we are working on scheduling and it depends on when/if it gets approved. Right now, the current schedule is to start right after graduation and to try to get this track completed in August. So we have a very narrow window. If we do run into complications that could impact the beginning of our football season and or practices. So we will work on a contingency plan for how that would impact our athletics team if this is the decision for the board.
All right, at this particular time, I'm gonna ask if there's a motion to approve and then we'll go into discussion at the table. Is there?
Second.
Who made it? Oh.
What is this?
The motion has been made by trustee Doyle and supported by trustee Gavin for the approval of staff report SSS1. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a question. What's the total price? Is it the 1.1 million? Cause I think you said 1.8.
Yes, so what you will see there in the pricing proposal, it has 4 listed prices. So the 1.1 is the work stated above, which is the planning, the work for the D zones and the underlayment, the site work and all of the architectural fields. What you'll see is the second price of $503,516 is for the top surfacing. Included with that top surfacing is the $90,228 to get the BSS 1000 surface, which is a 13 millimeter track surface, which will be extremely good on the life cycle and life cycle analysis price, as well as from a safety consideration, it's the best for our students. So you'll have those 3 costs. And then the fourth piece of that is a 5% contingency cost. So that is just for any unexpected variables or contingency prices that could come into the proposal.
Thank you. And then my follow-up question is, so what were the other bids? Were they comparable? Like, how was this company selected?
So the initial selection is we went through and talked to various vendors as far as recommendations from our local consortium of athletic associations, as well as who has a good reputation amongst the connections that we have. From that, we found Binion as a premier selection. They currently own approximately 50% of the market share for high school and collegiate tracks and fields. They are an Omnia partner, so we are able to go through the Omnia bid processing to be able to secure their bid based on previous bids and bid thresholds.
So, but where does the price compare? Is this like the price?
So this is through the Omnia partnership, so it's pre-bid. So it does not have to go for an RFP through the traditional route because they've already met that requirement by the state.
So if this is a good price or not, is what I'm asking.
No, it's verified already from Omnia because Omnia is our guarantee that this is a good price.
Okay, so trustee Rocket Martin,
Are there any,
can you please use your
are
mic?
there any local school districts around that have used their services for their tracks?
Yeah, there are a number of local schools. One of the local high schools is Watervliet. There are a number of collegiate programs that also use them. This is the same company that services Notre Dame and the University of Michigan, as well as the Detroit Lions. So it is a reputable company. But there are a number of local school districts as well as collegiate programs that use them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Trustee Gavin?
Just a comment. I appreciate the fact that you included a team of folks who will be impacted, like the athletic director, who kind of know what's going on there sports wise and how that's impacting their teams. I love the fact that you've looked into recommendations from other schools who have used it and that you were able to name some reputable places and that they are already verified. And so, I appreciate that you did your due diligence on this. And I would love to see us move forward so that our kids can practice on a track and not in the building, and so that we won't interfere with any of the other sports. We don't want to lose any students because we weren't able to provide a stellar athletic experience that they deserve that helps enhance their interest in our academic offerings. So really grateful for that, and I'm really grateful for that, and I'm hoping that we can move forward.
Madam President, I would like to call for the vote. Secretary Triplett had a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, I also had an opportunity to speak with Chief Corson, and we brought up to date as it relates to, so could you give the information as it relates to the things that will come, the high jump hits, and this includes all of this as it relates to the track. Also, I think it's important, this track, the late Reverend Ellis Hall, Ollie Hall, Mr. and Mrs. Opolsky. And back then they had a very strong booster club that took our track from dirt to where it is now. And that was over 40 plus years ago. And so right now, there are major events. We cannot host any track meet or anything like this. This is something that is very, very pressing for our kids, our community. The Rotary is a big event, and it used to alternate from Benton Harbor to St. Joe. And because of the condition of our track, they were unable to come here anymore. So I know there are some things that we will need to talk about as it relates to the aesthetics of the football, the stadium within itself, and to bring back to the table as far as turfing. Where is this funding coming from again?
This is going to be coming from sinking funds.
And can you tell us how much do we have in our sinking fund?
According to our CFO this morning, I believe it was roughly 10.5 million in our sinking fund balance.
Okay, 10.5 million, because I haven't heard any use of the sinking fund since I've been here, and everything's falling down. So thank you that we are using those funds this year in that direction. I'm not monitoring how anybody else flow. I'm just going to flow how I feel I'm trying to be. Okay, thank you so very, very much. I gave grace last week to people's feelings and what have you. I would like the same grace for mine. But thank you so much, Chief Corson.
Madam President.
I digress.
Secretary Triplett, please call the vote for staff reports SSS1.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, congratulations to Benton Harbor area schools. This is extremely significant. I would like to for you all to consider possibly doing a dedication of the track once it's ready. I want to make sure that we make this as historical as it is. So that might require some forward thinking. I don't know off the top of my head if our track has ever been named after someone. So the possibilities are limitless in what we can do to share this experience with the community.
I appreciate that, President Robinson. Just from a formality sake, I want to ensure, I know that Trustee Creighton was the one that proposed the vote. Did we have a second on that?
I was what?
You made the motion to approve, but I just wanted to double check that we had a second on that.
So approve what?
Okay.
It
All right,
was,
thank you.
yeah, it was two. It was actually Trustee Gavin that made the motion and Doyle supported it, or vice
Oh, you made
versa.
the
It
motion
came
to
from that,
move
yeah.
to the vote. Okay, thank you.
Respect the motion, but we worked it out and we got all the information. And so I definitely support it from a treasurer standpoint.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for my confusion, but I
Yep.
appreciate everybody.
No problem. We appreciate you.
Moving on to the boiler staff report SSS 2. Boiler Plan Installation Award. Reason for board consideration, the Board of Education shall approve all purchases over the most recent State of Michigan Department of Education threshold of $29,572. Facts and analysis. A RFP was sent out to the public and a district received one proposal by the deadline of March 4th, 2024 at 11 a.m. An RFP opening took place on Monday, March 4th, and the following is the recommendation of the superintendent. It is recommended that the board award this work to Andy Egan Company to cover the installation and construction work necessary to complete plans for the onset of the work to be done to replace the boilers at both Benton Harbor High School and Fairplain East Elementary. The source of the funding would be ESSER 3 and 2017 sinking funds, policy reference 6320 purchasing, 6325 procurement, federal grant funds. Strategic plan reference facilities and operations. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education vote to award the boiler installation at Fairplain East and high school locations to $4,378,000.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to support.
Second. The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Vice President Bowens. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report SSS 2?
Yes, Madam President.
You have the floor.
I would just like to thank this entire board for the opportunity for the first time in 75 years to get new boilers. I'm grateful that we've been great managers of our finances and our sinking funds and also ESSER funds so that we can make this happen. I just want to thank the administration for doing the legwork. We know that it's not always easy, but it's worth it when you can cross your T's and dot your I's. So I just want to put that on the record, and I would like to call for the vote.
Okay, so we have Secretary Triplett. We're gonna go down in order. So Secretary Triplett, Trustee Doyle, Trustee Gavin.
Well, I too would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Bud, Chief Corthan, the Facilities Committee for the hard work that was done to bring this to fruition. After Boilergate that happened in this community and just all of the big stuff around Boilergate, which was very, very critical. And I think that it kind of messed up people's confidence in our school district. And I do believe as a result of Boilergate that we did lose students. As a matter of fact, our numbers went up as it relates to loss. So now we are at this point where we're moving forward with our boilers and hope, as a matter of fact, it was kind of hot in here today. So I don't know if the boilers were on or off, but we can move forward. And so I'm very, very proud to have been a part of the facilitation of the new boilers for Benton Harbor High School and Fairplain East. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. Trustee Doyle.
I would just like to say how grateful I am to actually get this going, to be a parent of a past high school graduate who sent me pictures home of him freezing, and a daughter who's currently here that experienced the same thing. So I'm just grateful that we can get these kids a better state of heat so they can just feel better in the classrooms and be able to learn, as well as our staff.
Thank you, Trustee Gavin.
Thank you, President Robinson. I'm reminded of one of my favorite activists in the whole world, Frederick Douglass, who said that power conceives nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. It is a very true statement then, and it is a very true statement now. And when I think about our children, our staff, some hot, some cold, that combination of hot and cold can trigger asthma, pneumonia, all types of ailments. And it is a very real situation, not just happening in Benton Harbor, but all over the state, when you're talking about infrastructure crumbling in schools that serve children that look like us. It's a real problem. And so for us to be proactive and to be in the space of saying, okay, it's time to go ahead and take care of it. I'm really happy that we are all on one accord and that this time next year, we can see some folks coming back to their, to be tigers and to be warm when they're supposed to be warm and cool when they're supposed to be cooled off. So I guess my question, Chief Corson, is with this portion of the process, do you know how soon we could expect the boilers to be fixed? I mean, the whole system to be fixed. We know that it's more than just boilers, but that whole system to be fixed.
Dr. Butts, would you like to respond or would you like me to first?
You go first.
Okay. So due to the nature of this project, it was a very aggressive timescale. Can you hear me?
Please, I can't hear you.
Due to the nature of this, can you hear me now?
You just had some bikers come by. Okay,
I love that we have weather that is allowing for us to have fun outside again.
right.
So due to the nature of this project, the ambition was always a very aggressive timescale. What we have ensured with this proposal and those who had been paying attention to the state site is that we made a number of amendments as we were working with those who were interested in bidding for that. The Fairplain East project is a much simpler project than the high school project, and we anticipate that project to be fully completed this summer. The high school project is a much more complicated project, as all of you are well aware. And so the project is going to go in two phases. The first phase is that there's going to be a large hole essentially put over the existing coal bin this summer that will allow us to remove unused equipment and to put in the new equipment. The current boiler that we are still operating on is going to stay in operation to ensure that we always have heat available in this building. Wow. And they are working then to get in this first phase to have one bank of the heaters still yet this school year before the next heating season.
Say that last part again, please. I didn't hear that part.
Okay, so within this one building, we have 6 different heating components or heating systems within this building. Half of them are steam and half of them are hot water. So we do not have a commitment right now on if they're going to work and do the water side or the steam side, but they are going to complete one of those and get some of those equipment installed yet this year. They are going to continue to take out old equipment as can be and bring those up to pressure and do their safety checks into the fall. We will keep that one primary boiler that we have right now to ensure that we always have the correct amount of heat and we have redundancy for our system. And then the second phase of removing that boiler and bringing the other half of the system up to temperature and testing and all of that will then begin again and conclude next spring and summer.
So what's the date on that completion?
The date of completion.
Expected completion for the high school?
The date of completion for the high school is currently, it has a target. So the target date is going into the next heating season.
Why can't I hear?
He said going into the next heating season.
What's the year?
So
Can I get a number?
Next spring, you say?
yeah, it would be next spring. So it would be
2025.
2025. Yes.
Thank you.
You had something to add to that, Dr. Butts?
I just wanted to add that, so the way that the system is being put in, again, to reiterate what Mr. Corson said, Fairplain East will be completed this summer. The high school, the equipment will be here. They will be working throughout. So we got to make sure that we strategically plan our calendar as we go through to account for some of the days that we may have to take the system down. So what he was saying was that the boiler that is there now will stay there to ensure that there is continuous heat. But as they work through, we may have some interruptions, so we got to be prepared for it. So they will be going through, making sure that the equipment is, there will be a lot of construction this summer to pull old equipment out, put new equipment in, and then start to tie the new equipment into our existing system and upgrading our existing system as they work. So that's the extended timeline.
Thank you, Dr. Butts. Vice President Bowen.
Thank you, Madam President. And I just want to say, you know, you see all of this development that's happening with the new track field and the replacement of our heating system. It is just tremendous. You know, I was a victim of Boilergate. You know, I was portrayed that I did not want our kids to have heat. People purposely misaligned my character. A liar begins with making falsehoods appear like they're truth, and it ends making truth itself appear like a falsehood. And it was sad to see when you Google my name, you see 5 different recall attempts by individuals who wanted to make the public think that I wanted our kids to suffer. And that caused us to lose kids with Boilergate. We were better than this. It was sickening. But I also think it was a learning experience for this board. Some of them had the attitude that we could just order a boiler and it was just going to come, and you didn't realize you had to follow state law. So this has been a learning experience. It has opened me up with state law, and I think it has been something that is a long time coming. I'm glad to see it getting done in 2025, and I'm optimistic on the future. And I just want to say thank you, Mr. Corson and Trustee Triplett, Secretary Triplett, for our facilities meetings, you know, constantly having special meetings and making sure we know making sure we're speaking with attorneys and making sure we're doing things by law and following the law. Thank you.
Thank you all. So I want to end by saying congratulations to Dr. Butts, Chief Corson, our administrative staff. I know that Chief Vincent also worked as it relates to a finance piece in getting us to this place. I would like to shift the energy and shift the focus back to a moment of celebration, because I know that this has been a turbulent process for us, and I do not want us to, in this moment, go back to what we've been through. We've all learned from it. There were some positives and there were some negatives, but I want to ensure that we maintain our focus on the fact that this is done. And so it should be a moment of celebration. I thank each of the board members for their efforts. I do want us to be careful with our language and things said, because I don't want anyone to assume that there was anyone at the board table that did not want to replace the boilers. There was a process that needed to take place, and we wanted to ensure that we were completely knowledgeable on that process. So I'm very proud of this board. I believe we've learned a great deal, not only about boilers, but about ourselves as individual board members and ourselves as a team. So if we have no objections, I would like for us to actually just clap and commend ourselves as a district and as a board. Job well done, everyone. We navigated this, and I look forward to us attacking the next challenge. So at this particular time, if there's no objection, I'm going to ask that we just take a really quick recess. It's 7:50. Oh, Secretary Triplett, call the vote, please.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
Madam President? No.
No on the boiler?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
What are you doing?
No,
He thought I was talking about recess. Go ahead.
Sorry. She was talking about a recess and I thought we
Well,
were.
we don't have to take one, but I have to step out. So if you proceed, you can chair. That's fine.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, on the boiler, sorry.
you got me confused. Can you start over?
Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote for staff report SSS2?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
and Vice President Bowens.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so we actually have one more topic under Chief Corson, that staff report SSS3. That bit of interruption was this side of the table indicating that they would like to proceed without the recess, which I have no objections to. So Chief Corson, if you could proceed with staff report SSS3, I do need to step out for a second. I'd ask that Vice President Bowens chair in my absence.
I need to read.
Staff report SSS3. Approval of DL Gallivant equipment lease, submitting for board consideration. The Board of Education shall approve all purchases over the most recent state of Michigan Department of Education threshold of $29,572. Facts and analysis, the current printers at the school district are out of contract and routinely need maintenance. Is it the best interest and most cost effective for the district to upgrade the current machines and to obtain new leasing agreement, which includes the labor, parts, toners, and staples? It is recommended that the board award the lease to DL Gallivan Leasing indirectly via Wells Fargo Financial Leasing to replace the service printers. The source of funding for this matter is general funds, policy reference 6320, purchasing, strategic plan reference, facilities operations. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor area schools Board of Education votes to approve the lease of printers to DL Gallivan for 5 years.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes, Treasurer Creighton.
I make a motion that we approve staff report SSS3.
It's been a motion made by trustee Treasurer Creighton, and second by trustee Raquette. Is there any discussion? There being none, call for the vote. Secretary Triplett.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. This now leads us to our next discussion on human resources. The Human Resource Committee update from me. We had 2 HR meetings, one Friday and one yesterday. No, 2 this week, I'm sorry. And we're going to be calling for a special meeting and a special committee meeting with HR and finances. And we'll be coming back to discuss those items that we will be bringing before the committee as a whole.
Vice President Bowens.
Yes, Treasurer Creighton.
And so, I can't remember the process off the top of my head, but we're looking at requesting a special meeting for Tuesday, the 26th
Yes.
of March. Is that correct, Dr. Butts? Okay.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Trustee Gavin?
Thank you. You indicated that you're having a special meeting. And I heard at the last work session that there is some concern. I think there was a mention of, I could be wrong, like layoffs or something like that. And you're having that meeting with finance and HR. I heard Chief Vincent mention something to the effect of us having like a certain amount of millions of dollars in surplus. And then there was also a discussion about us losing students. So I guess what I'm wondering is the committee looking at creative ways to utilize funds to make sure that we are keeping our staff employed?
Absolutely. So, we are, from a finance standpoint, we are taking the information from the ESSER 3 trainings on how to keep and balance school budget. All of our CFO's knowledge and experience, and also our superintendent's knowledge and research. And so what we're doing as a finance committee, we're working directly with HR to actually look at student enrollment. And so staffing is pretty much determined by FTEs and student enrollment. And so right now, we've been able to supplement using some of our COVID CARES money, also known as ESSER 1, 2, and 3. Moving forward, it was a recommendation of our treasury and also state superintendent and partnership agreement that we ensure that we are being financially responsible as a district and that we're self-sustaining according to our general fund budget. So as you all noticed, we have allotted most of our ESSER funds already to just kind of move forward and be able to get the things that we need. As we're preparing for our budget year, we will have some tough conversations around budgeting, restructuring, and recycling. As you all noticed, we're not asking for any positions to be added at this time. We did listen to the recommendations of the board, and we don't want others to potentially accept jobs here right now until we get a good handle on what positions we need. So this might not actually mean laying off people. After this review, we'll have a better understanding of the financial position that we'll be in and our staffing needs. So fortunately and unfortunately, we will have to make tough conversations, and make tough decisions moving forward. But to answer the question, yes, we are looking at alternate ways to move money around and to balance our budget. We're very grateful of our debt forgiveness and we don't take it for granted. We don't want to actually develop any more long-term or short-term debt. So we're being very strategic.
Thank you.
Is there any additional questions or concerns? I just want to also say thank you so much for the committee for, we've been meeting at 12 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock. So I just want to say thank you so much for, even with your time and bringing your expertise. And I appreciate you all. Thank you.
One other thing, Vice President Bowens
Yes.
and President Robinson, just wanted to add, in our last two meetings, we did have, just for the record, and so that the board is aware, we did meet with the attorneys to actually make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do. We recognize that we don't have a chief human resource officer. We have staff that's been kind of filling in for us. But so we wanted to make sure that all of the decisions that are being made are being done legally and with fidelity. And so just want to thank our attorneys even for interrupting their schedules and on the drop of a dime with like a 4 to 6 hour notice, like, hey, we got questions. Can you join us on the meeting? And they were right there. So just wanted to also thank them for that.
All right, thank you to the Human Resources Committee for providing that update and to Vice President Bowens for chairing in my absence. Next up, we have staff report H1. Mr. McDermott.
Good night, everyone. Staff report H1, submitting for board consideration to approve the employment of staff in accordance with the revised school code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis it is recommended that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120 and 4120, employment of professional and support staff. Strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. We have Ms. Heather Vanderbilt, teacher that will be staffed at Our Lady of the Lakes Catholic School and effective, if approved, 3/13/24. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
All right, prior to us taking a vote, Dr. Butts has further clarification he would like to provide.
Thank you, Madam President. On this hire, it is for Our Lady of the Lakes Catholic Church. Just want to let the board know that we are the fiduciaries of their funds as they come through us. So this person does not work for Benton Harbor Area Schools. They are completely managed by Our Lady of the Lake Catholic School. This is an emergency hire so that we can maintain our compliance with our federal funding requirements. So I just wanted to make that clarification that we only handle the financial end. They do all of the other parts for this employee.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H1?
So moved.
Is there a second and support? The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Questions, comments, and concerns? Gavin?
President Robinson, I just want to put on the record again that I am not in support of Benton Harbor Area Schools, a publicly owned school district, being a fiduciary agent for any other entity other than our public school students and staff. I do understand that a lot of these tricky laws are in place, and it's important for us to be kind of mindful and advocate against those type of laws that expend our resources to go right out the door. So I know that it may not be a popular vote, but it's definitely time for the laws to stop putting those type of burdens on our school district and allow those private schools to do their own work and their own collection of funds, or however that works. That should not be our responsibility. So I would not be in favor of this.
Any additional comments or questions from the board regarding staff report H1? Hearing none in Secretary Triplett's absence, Liz, will you do me the honor of calling the vote?
Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens.
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle. No. No. Trustee Gavin.
No.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Thank you to Mr. McDermott for your presentation this evening. Next, we have old business. We have our board retreat and training opportunities. At this particular time, I'm seeking training for us on board superintendent relationships or roles. And then because we have to take a close look at our budget for the upcoming year, I am gonna get a finance training collectively for everyone. I think it'll assist us in not only looking at what's being spent as they present it to us, but helping to review and look at the budget and know what to look for as we go into our fiscal period. And so those are the training opportunities that I'm currently seeking. I do also want us to do a retreat that is just team building, where no business is handled. We are able to do things as a board, like go to dinner and spend time with each other, things like that. And so I'm thinking we could do something locally. It is legal to do a team building opportunity as long as there's no business being discussed. So that's the direction that I am heading. We also have to keep in mind that our superintendent's first checkpoint for his evaluation cycle would technically be in the month of April. So I want to pre-message that. I want to ensure that we stay on track with the evaluation. I know you all were very detailed in the evaluation feedback that he received for this previous year. We want to make sure that we're giving him those checkpoints as we need to. So that's a heads up for the month of April. And then I stepped out for a moment, so I'm not sure whether or not we came back to business and finance. I don't want to overlook that. Have we addressed business and finance just yet? Okay, so at this particular time, as discussed, we're going to move back up to business and finance.
President Robinson, just dealing with old business, may I address?
Yes.
So is it, since you're wanting us to go over get some finance training anyway, is it possible to fold in
Metrics? We can try to
training with that?
coordinate with Molly and see if we can do that. Or how lengthy that training is.
And
Maybe
do-
that can be a twofer.
And do we have a date for our proposed date for our retreat or trainings?
Not just yet. I actually was gonna throw a surprise on the board table, but the energy kind of shifted in the meeting. So I'm gonna I'll be following up with 2 board members individually via email because I am partnering you on the team building development. However, for the sake of time, I'm not gonna say who, but I'm pretty sure everyone can guess. And then I'm gonna challenge you all to plan and come up with the team building activities. I think it would be a treat in relationship development for those particular trustees. So I will follow up with you via email and another trustee that you may be able to guess.
Whenever we can have our one-to-one, I think that would be the best time to have that conversation. We've been on the board for over a year and have not had a one-on-one.
I am aware.
So let's do that first.
I am aware. Okay, so we're gonna go to Chief Vincent.
I'll start, Madam President, with the question about the pause, the contract pause. That was with Hunger for Nichols. It will be paused as of March 22nd. Pausing means we're ending our services. I sent the board some correspondence in reference to that. Giving an update on that pause. For the Advanced Education Solutions, that was with Ames Web, help with Ames Web progress monitoring and tracking, which was the question that was answered. That payment was back in December, which shows up on this, because we were behind on not behind, but we report on a delayed basis. So that's why it's showing up on this month's report.
Secretary Triplett.
So Ames Web is with what division? What is it under?
Ames Web is one of our local testing. It's like a state testing assessment that we do before we do the NWEA. So it's almost like a benchmark test that we use.
Yeah, I was just wondering what department would it go up under? Because I was just a little bit, concerned about people not knowing it's in the report. And it's money that's in the report, large amounts of money. And so these reports are put in there, and then that this is coming under teaching and learning. And it's like no one knew what those words were. And so that was concerning for me. That's all I want to say.
Madam
Thank you.
President,
Treasurer Creighton.
are we able to get a copy of that contract from Advanced Education Solutions?
I don't think that was a question for me. Is that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just because I don't remember us approving the contract, and so I just want to make sure that, we have a copy of it. Thank you.
All right, so at this particular time, I know that there was a motion to approve and support, and we went into questions. Secretary Triplett or Liz, do you all have record of who had initially made the motion for staff report F1? You would have to go back a bit.
It was, yes, Gavin.
Okay. So the motion was made by trustee Gavin and supported by trustee Doyle that we approve staff report F1. We've had questions and discussion at this particular time. Secretary Triplett, I ask that you please call the vote.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes, Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next up on the agenda is a topic under new business. If you all remember, I believe it was an email to the board or to Dr. Buss, where Treasurer Creighton proposed a ESSER 3 community input opportunity. And so I just wanted to give her the floor briefly to expound on the email.
Thank you. So I did get an opportunity to get some clarifications, and just because we have pretty much reallocated the money, and the items that were in question that we didn't have the information about were presented tonight, and the board supported them. So I think because of the action taken, I don't know how necessary it is to move forward with this.
Okay, thank you, Treasurer Creighton. So we can maybe circle back if later if deemed necessary, but we'll move forward. I don't want to belabor the topic if you're withdrawing the actual discussion. So at this particular time, we have open public comment. Is it Trustee Gavin?
And I don't want to cut in. I noticed that Secretary Triplett's hand was up.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the idea what Treasurer Creighton proposed, I would like us to not table it. I think we take it a little bit further, but because there's some things that I think that needs to be discussed even as a board. Because I just still do not feel comfortable. I requested information and have not been able to get it for some time since we started this, since we received this answer. So I would, like for us to not just flatly take this off the table, because there needs to be some information given to us as board members and to this community. What was the money spent for? Where we are right now, what do we have left, and what has to happen? The state superintendent specifically told us that the next 4 months are critical. In order for me to be able to make an informed decision, I need some information. So please, the way that the email was sent, I think it's a great thing. So please don't just wipe it all the way out. Thank you.
Okay. You got another question?
Trustee Gavin.
Hey, thank you. I'm in agreement that just two things really. So I am in agreement that we do need to create some way to allow empower our stakeholders to be able to participate in these types of decisions. There is a way of doing that. It's called participatory budgeting, and it's, when you put those ideas up around the room and you bring the community in, and they can kind of give dots and votes and input on the things that they think are most important. And I think that if we are creating those ways in which staff, students, parents, residents, voters, different people can come in and kind of share their thoughts, not just with ESSER funds, but just how we do our budgeting. I know we have professionals, but I think that community input just makes a big difference in terms of how they feel about us and how they feel about the school district in which they are a part of. So I would love for us to consider receiving a training on that participatory budgeting style. It is utilized in New York and in other places. And the other item I'm hoping that the board would consider under new business is, I know that the schools have all of these events going on, and if the board members aren't present, they feel like we don't care and we can't be everywhere. And so I had a friend who was a board member at another district, and she said like the school board members would adopt a school. So each board member would, have a particular school they adopt, and then they, you would go to that school all year and represent the board at that school. And so that way all of the schools would have, that board support and not feel left out. So just an idea that I would love for the board to consider, like an adoption type of system.
Madam President, Treasurer Creighton. Yes, just wanted to mention that I did send an email out almost 2 weeks ago regarding this. The only person that responded was Chief Vincent, and so I didn't know that the board was interested, and so I believe in good trouble and compromising. And so the compromise was to remove it because no one else showed interest in it. So it's not that, it was like anything else besides that, okay, maybe this is just something that Molly and I are interested in. And so that's why I removed it. Also, we do have available for everyone, and I'm gonna request that Chief Vincent send that out. Is the ESSER 3 budget. This does change often. However, $3 million almost was spent tonight. We don't have that much left. So it's kind of like it'll call for us to do another amendment. Not that it can't be done, but I think facilities, that projects that they're working on, each committee, and so I'm just trying to respect that because finance actually just approved them and analyzed them. So I'm trying to show deference to the other committees that do that are requesting purchases for hopefully students, facilities, human resources. And so just wanted to kind of put that out there.
Thank you. I would just like to add, as relates to the budget conversation and ensuring that the community takes the part, I want to remind the board that we are required and will have a budget hearing that will be communicated to the public And so we can think creatively about how to get people to actually come in and be involved in that conversation with us. What we've primarily done is we've done it where the budget hearing is one meeting and the actual business meeting is that same day at a later time, maybe an hour difference. I would suggest us kind of splitting them up. And so that way we have an opportunity to have our budget hearing, give the public an opportunity to give us feedback and then come back before we actually approve, because if there's anything of interest or anything concerning being expressed by the public, we really are not giving them an opportunity for us to make adjustments if needed based on that input. So that's something we'll look at as we move into our next fiscal budget. And you all will have to forgive me. I know that we jumped back down to new business, so we have yet to actually take the vote on staff report F1, correct?
No, we took it.
We did take it, okay. So at this particular time, I'll proceed with open public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to make a public comment? Hearing none, we'll proceed to superintendent announcements and comments. Dr. Butts.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to go back and they're not here though, but thank the students from Threads of Hope for their presentation tonight. I also want to go back and again, congratulate our boys basketball team for the hard work that they did. And if there's anyone out there, that is listening, there are two things that can happen when you play a game. You can win or you can learn. And for that, I think our team learned, because both teams were great players. And our team really played a very competitive game on that night. So I had the great chance to be there to witness it, and they did an extraordinary job. So again, back to them. I also like to again commend Ms. Mason for her work with the robotics team. We've come a long way this year. We have a few growing pains with it, but they're good growing pains as we move along, and the program is expanding. Last year, we were working side by side or under the wings of a different school district, and now we're actually in-house, and they're using our equipment at events. So that growth in itself just leads to our moving the needle forward with our teachers, with our clubs, and with the help from the board. So I also like again now to thank the board for helping me help us and help this faculty, staff, students, and the community move the needle forward as you were elected to do and as I was appointed to do. So give yourselves a round of applause and thank yourselves for the hard work that we do. I don't think many people understand the work that goes on behind the scenes. So I thank you all for your help, and I thank you for your input.
Thank you, Dr. Butts. Next, we have board member announcements and comments. We're gonna begin with Trustee Gavin.
I want to thank everyone who took the time to join in on the Zoom, and everyone who stayed here in the public. It's really good to see Principal Moran and his queen, after a long day's work, being sitting in here for another, however many hours, and Mr. and Mrs. Mason as well. Just everybody who's here. Really grateful to see you. I just want to say that I'm really grateful to have the students representatives that we have. I'm gonna call them by their title. I'm gonna say like Rep Collins and Rep Ross. Give them that esteem that they deserve, because they are representing the student body as board representatives, and I'm really happy to see that they have their own nameplate. And I just want to, just be clear about something. I was clear about what it takes to get the boilers replaced. I did my research. I do my due diligence. I've researched other schools. I've looked at what they did, what it took, what it costs, the process. My father is an attorney. He's been was the school board attorney for decades. So I'm not new to this. This is not something that I brought up and thought that we were going to snap our fingers and get boilers, but it's definitely something in which we could have voted yes sooner. It didn't have to happen. And sometimes, sometimes it's just important to just say, I apologize, as opposed to, blaming the person who's advocating for the students or on behalf of the staff. That's just a lot easier way to go when you make a decision that's not in the best interest. Just apologize and move forward. I'm just glad that we're here in this space and that we can finally do what's right by our kids. Thank you.
Trustee Doyle.
Yes, I would just like to thank everyone for coming out. I'd like to thank the staff for all the hard work, Dr. Corson, Chief Waddell, Ms. Vincent, Dr. Butts. It's good to be on this side of the table, to see this work actually getting done and we're moving forward. I'm proud to look at this agenda and see what we've accomplished, the track for our kids. They deserve to have a good track to run on, to have teams, to hold events. They deserve that. We are a great school with great children. And I'm grateful to be here to help make their experience great. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Doyle. Next, we have Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes, I'm so pleased about the diverse classroom libraries.
Can you speak up a little bit,
I
Trustee
said, I'm so
Rocket?
pleased that we're getting the diverse class, that we have gotten the diversity in our classroom libraries. And also that we are using volunteers to help do that process. I can remember that the First Church of God helped me put my library together. They came in on Sundays and all those things. One little word of caution, though, you want to make sure that some of the people that you get are skilled enough to do their work so that you'll have a good library put together. Also, I'd like to congratulate Mrs. Mason for the work that she's doing with the robotics. I know in the past, we did have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders going to competition in robotics and actually winning. So I'm glad to see that they are back, that you're back, and that, you will filter down, so that our other grades can also participate in those kinds of activities. Science is important, and good careers can come out of science. So I appreciate that. I'm also happy that the track is being done. It's one thing to have the kids run through the building to get their exercise versus running on a track. So that is a good thing. And I would also like to somehow, if we can, find maybe even a place where we can put a walking track for our community. At MLK, at Sealy McCoy, there's a walking track. However, we don't have that anymore. I think it's at least a preschool or whatever. But initially, that walking track was put there for the students at Sealy McCoy and for the community. And the fencing was put there and put in place in such a way that the community could access the track. So that's not a bad thing. Exercising together and keeping ourselves healthy is not a bad thing. No, let that next. And for our boilers, thank goodness we're getting our boilers. It was a contentious topic, which it really did not have to be, but because we did our due diligence, we now can get our boilers done without having to worry about looking over our shoulders if we did the right thing or if it's going to happen or do we have to go back and backtrack. We can do it with fidelity and not have to worry about it. It's a done deal. We're getting it done. And I think, one other thing, my colleagues on the HR committee, can we move that meeting down just a little lower, like to 7? MLK is having a literacy.
Are you referencing
parent literacy
curriculum? You're not on the HR committee. You mean curriculum?
What was the curriculum committee?
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing a literacy, parent literacy night that night from 5 to 7, I believe. And so I would like to kind of attend that. And with that being said, that's all from myself.
Thank you, Trustee.
I'm gonna get her an extension. Treasurer Creighton, thank you so much. Just want the board to know that I'm accepting apologies. If you feel like you wronged me, I'm always open and very graciously accepting apologies. I believe that in life, 10%, life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to it. And I live by the word that says, behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as a serpent and innocent as a dove. And so as I sit here, I just want to thank everyone for everything that they do. I don't want to repeat anything. I think hard work is hard work. I want to thank the other trustees for leaving early and being willing to endure the work, and really grateful for all of the parents and students that have chosen Benton Harbor Area Schools as their school of choice. I don't take it lightly from a treasurer standpoint. I realize that without students is no us. And so I just invite everyone to be a part of the change in which they wish to see in Benton Harbor Area Schools. Good night.
Thank you, Treasurer Creighton. Up next, Secretary Triplett.
Madam President, I too feel very proud and honored as a Benton Harbor High School Tiger of the things that are happening here in Benton Harbor Area Schools. I do accept your apology that you owe us. And I appreciate, you all that we've done as a board. Your apology is accepted. To Chief Corson, I appreciate the work. I'm working along with you on the facilities committee and looking forward to continuing the work. I will not, and I want to say this to the citizens, I've never wavered in my commitment to Benton Harbor Area Schools, never. Through some of the roughest and toughest times, I've still remained. I want to say to this Board of Education, we are really an awesome Board of Education. We have some very, very sharp people on this Board of Education, and I just want you all to be encouraged. Like you said, hard work is hard work. And hard work requires hard work. I just wanted to be understood that, and I've stated it before, that if it does not get down to kids, I cannot support it. If it's not what's best for our kids and our community. You have all of these slogans, children's first, and all of these different things, and a lot of times we don't quite get there. I think that we do have Trustee Doyle always speaks about, in her comments and what have you, about the kid. No matter what the situation is, the kid. And so that's what I will be doing moving forward. Egos must be smashed. I am Operation Accountability. My time is up, and I'm going to digress and give it back to you, Madam President.
I reclaim my time.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. Next up, Vice President Bowen.
One of our greatest sisters said the best quote. I believe the children are our future.
Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Vice President Bowens, you may continue.
Show them all the beauty they possess inside and give them a sense of pride and make it easier. Let the children laughter remind us how we used to be. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's believing that our children are our future, making sure we're providing them a quality, fresh start, making sure that our children are getting a world-class education,
Yes.
making sure we are bringing reading, writing, and arithmetic. I believe that we must continue to contend to the faith and contend to what we want to do, and that is restore the war. But I also believe I also want to say thank you to the board for last month. I didn't get to do my comments. Last month, for the Michigan Black Summit, it was just beautiful seeing you all there. We had Miss Raquette, President Robertson, Secretary Triplett, and it was just amazing. I had to tell Angel when I was at the door, seeing her walk in, it just did something to me. And, you know, we were able to put Benton Harbor on the map. And I want to say thank you for your support. That's what it takes to bring resources. You know, they see and get to see a different side of us in Benton Harbor. So I just want to say thank you. I also want to say, thanks again, even Ms. Raquette, for joining us on the meeting with our HR. These next 4 months will be critical as we are restructuring the district and looking at the impact. But I also want us to get wise and start creating a plan for recruitment. We're going on 4 years and there has not been a plan of recruitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Bowens. I would like to say well done to Dr. Buss and his administrative team with the big wins that we had today. I'm extremely proud. I wish I had had the foresight to have a press release prepared. I'm not sure how quick we could do something, but just to make sure that the story is told in the manner that we would like it to be regarding the purchase or the approval of the track and the boiler. Those are very big. So if we can get something shout out to the press, that would be amazing so that we can tell our story. I also would like to challenge everyone to do some internal work, both on our board and our administrative team. We come to the table to handle the business at hand, but ultimately we are making decisions that are not only impacting the children that are currently in our district, but the future of this district. And so as it relates to oversight, accountability, and governance, I don't believe there's anyone at this board table that's perfect. Whether it's you forgetting to do your homework prior to the meeting, you being rude and quick or short with others, creating fires on social media, things of that nature, none of us are perfect. And so as it relates to teamwork and team building and actually being one strengthened team that is working towards the best interest of this school district and not personal interest or gain, I think we need to take some internal looks into ourselves and make sure that we are giving our best. And that's from myself to each end of the table, as well as the administrative team. Once we are challenging ourselves to give our best amount of effort, our insight, oversight, accountability, and governance, when we do our best, it will trickle down to every member of the district and back up. And so I'm really attempting to be as positive as I can in promoting that unity. However, I cannot allow us to be blind to our own faults because, as stated, no one is perfect at this table. I would also like to acknowledge too, and I'm gonna wrap up really quickly. I would like to apologize to Trustee Bowens for the experience of being recalled over a decision that you had a right to make. And I know that there were some concerns that you expressed to me, and I chose not to make it a Board of Education issue, but I can only imagine what that experience was. And I know that you sincerely are here for the best interest of the kids. And so I want to acknowledge that you had every right to make a vote in the manner that you did. And I apologize for that experience that you went through. And if I failed to support you in the manner that I should have as your president. However, I would like to make it clear that I will be ensuring that we are all held accountable at each meeting, because it has allowed us to get out of here at 8:34 p.m. So with that being said, I am going to ask if there is a motion to adjourn. Support. The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Treasurer Creighton. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Secretary Triplett, please call the vote.
President Robinson.
You have the floor.
Thank you. I think the apology should be to the kids and staff. I mean, they are the ones who endured. Whenever we make a vote, it has an impact in the classroom. And so to apologize to a person who's not in the classroom all day, and to not apologize to the kids and staff, and to pretend that that didn't happen, that's gaslighting.
President Robinson, I would like to call for the vote.
No, I'm gonna provide a comment to adjourn. So in my comment, I have the right to provide whatever apology I would like. And I would like to acknowledge that this Board of Education did its due diligence in getting the board work done, just as we did in making sure that we made repairs to the boilers. So I have no concern whether anyone at this table agrees or disagrees with what I chose to apologize for. I apologize to my vice president for what he experienced in his vote as vice president. And so I am going to ensure that whether your comments made at adjournment or whether it's made on a vote, if it's referring to me, I am going to respond as I am obligated and entitled to do. So again, Vice President Bowens, I apologize to you for what you experienced by using your right to vote no, just as I did. Secretary Triplett.
Yeah, and I think that when we're talking about apologies, I think we need to apologize for lies that were said about people and about how we were operating and doing things on the Board of Education. So, you know, I can speak for myself. I held my tongue. I never posted anybody's name on Facebook. I never discredited anybody, even when they were lying and saying things that were not true. So we're gonna close it out, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep it real and stop all this gaslighting. And because we have made some amazing fiscally responsible decisions, we worked hard to get where we are today. And because of our work, we were able to make a decision without deficit or just blindsided. We did a great job. And again, I do accept your apology. Thank you so very, very much. And if it don't apply, let it fly.
Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson.
Yes.
Vice President Bowen.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle. Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This meeting is officially adjourned at 8:37 PM. Have a fabulous day, everyone.
We did good. Woo!